Discipline isn't a personal failing, it's design. Your brain isn't trying to betray you, it's doing its job, saving energy, chasing immediate rewards, and favoring familiar paths. The reason sticking to a habit feels like an uphill battle isn't because you're weak. It's because your brain was built for short-term efficiency, not long-term projects like finishing that book, keeping a consistent practice, or resisting the phone at night. Once you accept that, everything changes. Discipline stops being a character test and becomes an engineering problem you can solve. Think about a simple scene. Your alarm goes off. On the bedside table, your phone is glowing with notifications, and your running shoes are tucked in a closet across the room. Which option does your brain prefer? The snooze button and 5 more minutes of scrolling. That choice isn't moral, it's predictable. Your brain sees immediate comfort and low effort, and chooses the path of least resistance. If you want the other outcome, getting up and running, you don't cajole your willpower into performing miracles. You change the setup so the better choice is the easier one. Here's the promise. Once you stop treating discipline as a test of will and start treating it as a design challenge, you make the right action much more likely. If this is sounding useful, take a second to subscribe or save this video so you can revisit these ideas whenever you need the practical steps to redesign a habit. Why your brain makes discipline feel hard.
Your brain evolved to value energy efficiency and immediate reward. For most of human history, conserving calories and avoiding unnecessary risk were good survival strategies. Fast decisions that favored immediate payoff helped your ancestors survive. Today, the same wiring that once protected you now nudges you toward the easiest immediate option: comfort, convenience, and distraction.
2 simple concepts explain a lot here. First, cognitive ease. When something feels easy, familiar, low effort, routine, the brain prefers it. New behaviors feel harder because they require active attention and extra energy. Second, autopilot habits. A habit is a mental shortcut. Your brain recognizes a cue, runs a learned routine, and expects some reward at the end. That automatic loop conserves attention. New habits haven't been automated yet, so they demand more active control. So when you sit down to write but your brain finds scrolling more appealing, it's not an insult. The phone delivers immediate, varied rewards, while writing offers delayed, uncertain payoff. The brain is built to prioritize the now. That's what the title is getting at. Discipline isn't hard, your brain makes it feel that way. It's not that discipline is inherently impossible. It's that the default wiring and your environment combine to make the disciplined path feel costly. Everyday examples. You want to study after work. Your desk is cluttered, the notes are buried in a drawer, and the couch is 2 steps away with the TV remote ready. Not surprisingly, you flop down, and the study session never starts. Or imagine trying to cut back on soda. The vending machine with cans at eye level practically calls your name. There's a famous cafeteria study. Researchers placed water bottles at the front of the line and sugary drinks farther back. When water was more obvious and easier to access, more people chose it. That's not moralizing. It's evidence that small design choices change behavior in predictable ways. Another scene. You want to wake up and run, but your running clothes are in a pile in the closet. If the shoes are next to the bed and your outfit is laid out, the barrier to getting moving drops dramatically. It's the same reason stores put candy near the checkout. They create queues and reduce friction for impulsive purchases. Your environment begs a lot of choices every day. Most of them are defaulting to whatever setting requires the least energy. Design is the battleground. If your brain prefers the path of least resistance, the solution is obvious. Change the paths. Choice architecture, how options are presented, is the key. That's the theory. The practice is a set of straightforward moves you can test in 1 hour. Make the behavior obvious. If you want to practice piano each evening, leave the sheet music on the stand and the bench pulled out. Make the cue impossible to miss. Brands and behavioral scientists do this all the time. Arrange the environment so the cue triggers the desired response. Make the behavior attractive. Pair it with something you already like, Or design the environment so the desired action is more appealing. Want to read more? Set up a cozy reading corner, a pleasant lamp, a cup of tea. Want to exercise more? Make the workout playlist irresistible, or join a class where people expect you to show up. The more attractive an action feels, the more your brain will want it. Make the behavior easy. Reduce friction. The fewer steps between you and the action, the more likely you'll take it. Friction can be anything: a locked app, a password, a buried piece of equipment. Remove those. Conversely, add friction to the habits you want to quit. Put your phone in another room during work, unplug the game console, or put sweets in a hard-to-reach cabinet. Make the behavior satisfying. The brain learns from reward. If the action produces an immediate, positive feedback loop, even a tiny one, it's more likely to stick. That's why progress bars, streaks, and small celebrations work. They create short-term rewards that bridge the gap until long-term benefits kick in. Those 4 steps, obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying, are exactly the practical checklist James Clear offers in Atomic Habits. He frames them as the 4 laws of behavior change. I'm using that framework because it's a straightforward toolkit you can apply to almost any habit. The habit mechanics: cue, routine, reward. At the heart of habits is a loop: cue, routine, reward. The cue prompts the action, the routine is the behavior, and the reward is the benefit that reinforces the loop. The cue can be a time of day, an emotional state, a location, another action, or an object in your environment. The reward can be intrinsic, pleasure, relief, or extrinsic, a snack, a notification. If you want to change a habit, you can intervene at any point in the loop. Make the cue more noticeable, change the routine, make the reward more immediate or clear. For example, if your cue is finishing dinner and your routine is immediately opening your phone to scroll, you can insert a new routine. After dinner, go for a 10-minute walk, then pick up the phone. That replaces the routine and gives you a different reward, a short burst of fresh air and a little mental reset. Habit stacking: how to hijack autopilot. One of the most practical tactics is habit stacking. Attach a new, tiny behavior to an existing automatic habit. You take advantage of the neural pathway that already exists. The template is simple. After current habit, I will new tiny habit. For example, after I make coffee in the morning, I will write 1 sentence. Or, after I brush my teeth, I'll do 2 minutes of stretching. The key is to start tiny, so small that it feels trivial. That reduces resistance and makes the new action easy to perform consistently. 2-minute rule: start small enough to win. This is another rule of thumb. Scale down any new habit to 2 minutes. Want to meditate? Start with 2 minutes. Want to write? Start with 2 minutes. Want to exercise? Start with 2 minutes of movement. The point isn't to limit your progress. It's to lower the activation energy so you begin. Momentum often follows. Once you're 2 minutes into a habit, you're much more likely to continue. Small wins accumulate into a system that makes the habit automatic. Practical example: redesigning your morning workout. Before, you intend to run at 6 a.m., but you hit snooze. The running clothes are in the closet. Your phone delivers pleasant distractions. After, make it obvious by placing your running shoes and clothes by the bed. Make it attractive by creating a playlist you love and promising yourself a small reward after the run. A favorite breakfast, for example. Make it easy by setting out all your gear the night before and putting a glass of water by your shoes. Make it satisfying by checking off the run on a calendar or logging it in an app that gives you a green streak. Use habit stacking. After you set the alarm, existing habit, you place your shoes by the bed, new tiny habit. Start with 2 minutes. Commit to getting out of bed and stepping outside for 2 minutes. Often that's enough to keep going. Practical example: study habit. Before, you plan to study when you get home, but the desk is messy and you don't have notes ready. After, make it obvious by leaving your study materials neatly on the desk, open to the first page. Make it attractive by brewing your favorite drink and using a comfortable chair. Make it easy by having a 25-minute timer set and noise-canceling headphones ready. Make it satisfying by recording each session and celebrating small wins, a check mark, a quick stretch, or a short reward.
Habit stacking. After you take off your shoes at the door, existing habit, you sit at the desk and start a 2-minute review. The momentum often leads you into a full study block. How to reduce phone distraction.
If your phone is winning, redesign how it enters your life. First, make the phone less obvious. Turn off non-essential notifications, place it in another room during focused work, or use Do Not Disturb. Second, make other activities more attractive. Prepare a notebook and pen so writing or planning is easier than opening an app. Third, add friction to the habitual behavior. Put social apps behind a password or a time limit app that requires a deliberate extra step. Finally, make alternatives satisfying. Set a quick goal like 25 focused minutes, then reward yourself with a short walk or a single notification check. Examples that show the laws in action. Water in the cafeteria study. When water was placed in the front of the line, people chose it more often. That's make it obvious and make it easy. Running shoes by the bed. Obvious cue. Plus reduced friction. Phone in another room, plus a set ritual for checking messages. Adds friction to the bad habit and makes the good habit, focused work, easier. Habit stacking. After the morning coffee, 5 minutes of reading. The coffee is the established cue that supports the new behavior. Identity. The deeper engine of habits. Design and tactics change behavior, but identity change makes it stick. James Clear highlights identity-based habits. Every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. When you record small, consistent wins, you're not just ticking boxes. You're telling yourself who you are. The small actions are evidence. The brain uses them to update your self-image. Think in votes. Doing one push-up is one vote for I'm a person who exercises. Doing that push-up every day gradually builds a different identity than never doing it. The crucial shift is to ask, who do you want to be? Then design tiny, repeatable actions that are consistent with that identity. Over time, identity and habit feed each other. The identity supports action, and action reinforces the identity. Why momentum matters. Small actions compound. Each micro-habit slightly biases the future toward more of the same. Habits create a trajectory. When you reduce friction and increase cues and rewards for the behaviors you want, you make it more likely that you'll keep going. The initial phase is the hardest because you haven't built the neural pathways or the environmental support yet. That's why starting tiny matters. It allows you to begin without draining willpower. A simple 3-step micro-plan you can use today. 1. Pick one habit. Choose something specific and small. Not get fit, but put on running shoes by the bed, or write one paragraph after lunch. Keep it ridiculously small. 2. Apply one environmental tweak. Make the cue obvious. Lay out clothes, put notes on the desk, move the water bottle to the front. Reduce friction for the habit and add friction for the habit you want to avoid. 3. Stack a 2-minute action. Attach a tiny routine to an existing habit. After existing habit, I will 2-minute habit. Do this every day for 2 weeks and track it. The goal is consistency, not intensity. Practical scripts for common habits. Exercise script. After I turn off my alarm, I will put on my running shoes and stand up for 2 minutes. If I feel like running, I'll go for at least 10 minutes. If not, I'll walk for 2 minutes. Habit stack. Alarm, shoes by bed, 2-minute step outside. Study script. After I take off my shoes at the door, I will sit at my desk, open my notebook, and read one paragraph. I will set a 25-minute timer. Habit stack. Coming home. Sit and read one paragraph. Start 25-minute session. Phone script. After I make coffee, I will put my phone in the kitchen drawer and leave it there for 90 minutes. Habit stack. Coffee. Phone drawer. Focused work. Nutrition script. After I prep dinner, I will place a water bottle on the counter and keep soda in a high cupboard. Habit stack. Dinner prep. Water accessible. Drink water first. Troubleshooting common problems. 1. I tried this and failed after a few days. That's normal. Reduce the size of the habit even further. If 2 minutes feels harsh, make it 1 minute. If committing daily is too much, do it 4 times a week. Adjust the environment more aggressively. Move the cue closer. Put away distractions. 2. I get tempted by stronger rewards. Make the desired action more rewarding in the short term. Pair it with something enjoyable. For example, only listen to a favorite podcast while you fold clothes or only sip your best coffee while reading. 3. I don't know which habit to pick. Choose one friction point that costs you time or energy and redesign it. Focus on low-hanging fruit, phone at night, dishes cluttering the kitchen, or an unpacked gym bag. 4. I don't have time. The 2-minute rule is your answer. Time often follows action. The key is to show up. Design patterns that help. Default to the good option. Set defaults, so the easier choice is the healthier or more productive one. Examples: subscribe to a healthy meal plan, enable website blockers during work hours, pre-commit to a class, make bad habits costly. If you want to stop hitting snooze, place your alarm across the room. If you want to reduce late-night snacking, remove junk food from the house. Use social design. Public commitments, accountability partners, or group classes raise the social cost of not showing up and increase the attractiveness of participation. Automate decisions. Automate savings, recurring purchases of healthy food, or scheduled workouts so they happen without a daily choice. Sustaining progress, measurement, rituals, and reflection. Track tiny wins. The act of recording progress creates satisfaction and information. Use a simple habit tracker or calendar. Keep rituals, pre-work routines, and post-work celebrations that create emotional anchors. Reflect weekly. What environmental tweaks helped? What needs more friction or less? Adjust in small increments. Advanced tweaks for stubborn habits. Implementation intentions. Write a plan that specifies when and where you will act. If it is 7 p.m. and I'm home, I will spend 10 minutes on a hobby. This turns vague intentions into specific cues. Temptation bundling. Attach something you love to something you need to do. For example, only allow yourself to watch a favorite show while on the treadmill. Commitment devices. Make a future outcome contingent on action today. Pay a friend to hold you accountable, or use an app that charges you money if you lapse. Environment swaps. If your workspace slows you down, experiment with moving to a library or co-working space for a week. Common myths about discipline. Myth: discipline is all willpower. Reality: willpower is finite. Design scales infinitely. Instead of relying on heroic restraint, optimize the environment to guide the brain. Myth: big changes require big actions. Reality: small consistent actions compound and are easier to maintain. Myth: you need motivation every day. Reality: motivation fluctuates. Systems and environment carry you through low motivation days. Stories that illustrate the shift. Imagine 2 roommates trying to read more. Alex vows to read every night, but leaves books buried on a shelf. Sam puts a book on the pillow each morning and sets a nightly alarm labeled, "Read 1 page." Sam's cue is obvious. Alex's is not. Sam shows up consistently. Over months, Sam becomes someone who reads before bed. Alex keeps promising change, but without a designed cue and reduced friction, it never happens. The takeaway: design changes identity through action. Another example: a graduate student who struggled with consistent writing redesigned his space. He removed social apps from his laptop during writing hours, put a glass of water next to his keyboard, and used the 2-minute rule. Start by opening a blank document and writing a single sentence. Within weeks, the act of opening the document became a cue. The micro-action built momentum and eventually doubled his weekly output. Safety and compassion. It's important to be gentle with yourself. The brain's default behavior isn't evidence of moral failure. It's biology. Design doesn't shame, it empowers. If you've tried and failed, Don't double down on self-criticism. Instead, change the setup. Small, compassionate edits to your life, a shoe by the bed, a notebook on the desk, a hidden app, will change the outcomes far more reliably than beating yourself up. How to choose your first habit to redesign. Ask 3 questions. What single habit would make my days noticeably better? What small action could I do consistently with minimal effort? What environmental tweak could make it obvious? Pick one that answers all 3. Examples. Put a reusable water bottle by your keys to drink more water. Place your headphones on the desk to make a 10-minute focus session easier. Place an enticing book on the pillow to read more at night. A 30-day experiment you can run. Week 1. Pick one micro-habit and one environmental tweak. Start with the 2-minute rule and habit stacking. Track it daily. Week 2. Adjust the environment based on friction points. If you miss days, reduce the habit size even further. Week 3. Add a small satisfaction element. Check a box. Log the habit. Celebrate a 5-day streak. Week 4. Reflect and scale. If the habit is consistent, increase the time slightly or stack another small habit onto it. When to iterate. If a habit stalls, diagnose. Is the cue unclear? Is the reward missing? Is friction still too high? Experiment with one change at a time. Swap the cue, make the reward more immediate, or increase attractiveness. The point is experimentation, not perfection. Bringing identity into the day-to-day. Start sentences with I am or I want to be. For example, I am someone who writes every day is different from I want to write more. Back up that identity with 2-minute actions that provide evidence. Over time, your behavior matches the story you tell yourself. Final micro-challenge. Right now, in the next 2 minutes, pick one habit you want to redesign. Write it down in a single sentence using a stacking formula. After current habit, I will, tiny habit. Then pick one environmental tweak that makes it obvious and one satisfying way to mark completion. That small act, writing the plan down, is your first vote. Recap. What matters most? Discipline feels hard because your brain is wired to prefer ease and immediate reward. That's not destiny, it's explanation. The effective response is design. Change cues, reduce friction, make desired actions attractive and satisfying, start tiny, and use habit stacking. Identity follows action. Tiny wins compound into a new self. You don't need to be tougher. You need better architecture. When your environment nudges you toward the choices you want to make, discipline becomes far less of a moral burden and much more of a predictable outcome. Comment below. What's one tiny habit you'll redesign today? Write your habit in the stacking format. After current habit, I will, tiny habit, and make it specific. Sharing it makes the intention real and is a vote toward the identity you want. If you found this useful, subscribe for more practical habit design strategies and ways to turn small actions into reliable momentum.